Action Comics 662, where Superman finally reveals himself to Lois Lane. Can you tell us a little bit about that assignment?
Can you believe it? There were Jerry Ordway was one of the pencilers on one of the Superman books. Dan Jurgens was the other penciler, and I was the third. When I was actually working on the Hulk comic, Ink and Dale Keown over at Marvel, and I was up at the office one day turning in some pages, and Jerry Ordway came up to the office and saw me there, and he said, "Hey, Bob, I've always liked your penciling. Why don't you do more penciling?" And I said, I don't know. I just kind of take what comes along, and I'm having a good time here, Ink and Dale on the Hulk. And he said, "Well, we're looking for a penciler on Superman. Would you be interested in doing some penciling on Superman?" Now, I was not a big comic book reader when I was growing up. Like I said, I was reading Mad Magazine, but I did read the Superman line of comics, all of them. Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, Super Family, everything to do with Superman, I would buy as a comic when I was a kid. My sister would buy Archie comics, and then we'd swap, and she'd read Superman, and I'd read Archie. But I missed the whole Marvel revolution in the 60s because I was reading Mad Magazine. So I didn't know any of the Marvel characters really. I didn't know who Jack Kirby was. I missed that whole boat. But Superman I knew, and so when he offered me a chance to draw Superman, it was like, wow, what an honor to actually draw the character that I read as a kid. Here I am, it's my job. You would think I would already be thinking this way since I had been drawing comics for 20 years at that point. But I wasn't doing what I read as a kid. So it was really great to start drawing Superman. But, then there were three of us each month drawing the comics. And when that storyline came up, we would get in a room, all the writers and artists and colorists and the editor, Mike Carlin, would get in one room and talk about what Superman's story arc was going to be over the next year or so. So we knew that was coming up at some point. He was going to finally reveal to Lois Lane that Clark Kent was Superman. But it could have been any one of the three of us. Why they gave it to me, I don't know. You'd have to ask Mike Carlin, because Dan Jurgens and Jerry Ordway had been on the series longer than I had. But I'll do that. So I was very happy to get that issue.
It's such a great issue too. I mean, like there's the revelation with Lois, but it's also like a Silver Banshee issue too. It's a robust Superman story with this big comic book history footnote there. I was a huge I'm still a huge Superman fan. How dare I? I've been a huge Superman fan. So like that book was like just like the big shocker. And then I was reading everything leading up to the wedding. And of course, back then we don't have the internet, and I didn't know what was happening. I was like, how did we go leading up to the wedding to leading up to him getting killed by Doomsday? What is happening?
Yeah, and I also got to ink that issue. I was penciling actually just breakdowns for Brett Breeding. Started out Brett inking my pencils, but I really wanted to ink my own pencils. They had a chance. They did a couple of fill-in issues or whatever, and I got a chance to pencil and ink that issue and the two issues after that, 663 and 664, where he's traveling back in time. Both very
time again. One of my favorite stories.
Yeah, very fun to draw. I really had a great time on those three issues.
I think you got to draw almost the entire JSA in that issue, right? Because he's approaching them, and then you have the Spectre appear and be like, you don't belong here, and you can't interfere with it. And I loved that. And I thought, like, and again, I as a kid reading this, I was eating it up. I thought, what a great moment for the Spectre to, like, reveal himself. I'm a partial embodiment of God, so, like, I get that you're removed from time, but you need to go away.
Yeah, and I liked drawing the Spectre. I was a fan of Jim Aparo's work on the Spectre, and so I was really excited to draw the Spectre and all of the Legion characters.